He's a friendly one. He'll probably hang out the whole time there.
I love it. So how have you been?
I've been good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited we finally get to hang out. I feel like it's been forever.
It's been like over a year. I felt so bad it took me so long.
No, it's good. I'm excited. Slow progress is still progress.
Yes. That's what I keep trying to tell myself. Let's see here. And can I? If I pull them up in Google Plus, will that work?
Yeah, that's fine. I can screen share too if you're having trouble.
Let's see here. There we go, and then screen share. Is that working?
It's working.
Perfect.
Okay, so same thing as level 4. Tell me a little bit about creating the image and what went into it, any struggles that you had, and then I'll grade you on it.
Okay, so for this one, Kat decided to get with me. Go down there. So this one, I decided to do a 50s Hollywood glamour themed shoot, which was what my goal was. And one of the marketing students at my job likes to model, so she had the perfect look, so I asked her and she said yes. So I rented the studio, which was amazing, no longer exists. They closed shortly after the shoot. But they had the, oh, stop that. Sorry. They had great furniture and lights and everything, so I set up and did with studio lights. I think I had 2 of them on the go there. And she did her hair and makeup and brought the dress in. And so I was trying to go for that kind of loungy look, you know, that like 50s, really glamorous. So that's kind of that one.
How do you feel about it? What would you grade it at?
I think it was a good attempt. I kind of wish I'd had more, I don't know if I mouse over if you can see it. No. I wish I'd had more space between her arm and her body so you could see more of her shape.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a little less shadow underneath her. So she looked a little, you could see her more, her body. But I think it was pretty good. I had a lot of fun with it. So I'd say good. I don't know.
I'd say you're at like a solid like B plus. One, I went and actually looked back over your level 4 critique. And so I think leaps and bounds of progress, which is really good, because I already peeked and looked at all 5 of them that you brought. For this one particularly, I love the idea, and you're definitely, I have a very clear idea of what you were trying to accomplish. Like, I can totally see what you were seeing in your head when you said, okay, let's try this idea, which is good because that's halfway there then. There's a couple of little posing quirks that we missed. One, you want to be careful about having limbs go straight towards camera. So because her arm is going forward, instead of to the side, it really shortens from like the elbow to the wrist. And so if we had her turn her arm inward and had her lounge back on it, but turn inward, we would have kept that length.
Oh, okay.
So that's one of them. You just want to be careful about having things go forward. That goes for legs too. Like people, you never want to have a girl sit, or anyone really, but have a girl sit in a chair where you're not seeing the perspective of the upper legs. That's why you'll see if I ever sit people in the chair, I'm always like turning their legs down so that you can see those lines. The other thing is the feet should have been switched. So the one that's underneath her body, that should have been the foot that was back. The other one should have came forward. What you did by doing it the other way is we kind of had this distortion going forward because the fabric's super shimmery. So it creates this like box effect with her leg that doesn't really follow this long flowing line that you were kind of creating. So it makes her legs look really short and kind of stubby. And part of that's the dress too, because it's a mermaid cut, that's accentuating it because of the lines of the seams. but it just throws off the perspective. So if you had actually had her top leg come over top, you would have kept that nice curve all the way down, and it would have just changed the perspective a little bit. So when I have them laying in lounge positions, you'll notice that 9 times out of 10, whatever side they're laying on, their top leg, that knee comes over top of the other leg, because it makes it seem longer and it gives your eye a longer path to wander all the way down before it gets to her toes. Then it's just really little things. I agree with you about the space between her arm, but I also think that you're probably losing a lot of the space that is there because of her hair. So I probably would have switched it and put her hair on the other side of her head for this shot, or switched her body and leaned her on the other side of the couch so that it was on that side, falling down rather than leaning against her body, and covering the space. And then the only other thing that jumps out at me right away is to just pay attention to your fabric when you're draping it. You want to make sure that you put the back of the dress fabric, roll that up and put that under the dress so that you're not seeing the inside of the fabric seam. So that you're only seeing the shimmer of the actual fabric that's supposed to be seen and not the interior of the fabric. But the light's very pretty. It's a little flat. I'd really love to see like some good like Hurrell 1920s movie star kind of lighting. And it's just a little hot right on like the collarbone, and the top part of her chest is actually a little bit hotter than her face. And I see more specifically, and this might be tan lines as well, but it's paler compared to her arms. So just evening out the color a little bit between like her face and chest and then the arm tones. I think that would be helpful. But overall, like I'm picking at you a little harder than I did last critique because we're getting ready to go into Sphere 1. But overall, it's still a really beautiful shot. I do think that you got like 90% of the way towards what you were looking for. There's just a couple of little things we could have did that would have really tweaked it and taken it from a really good shot to an exceptional shot. So well done.
Thank you.
Okay, so next image.
Okay. So we played around with a lot of different dresses. She brought all kinds of different stuff with her. And then there was these beautiful, beautiful windows. They're just stunning. So I decided to do kind of a natural light one just to see if it would work. It was kind of just an experiment. And I thought it was really beautiful. So I really liked it. So I put it in. There were blinds that you could see in it before, but in my level 8 critique, somebody had mentioned getting rid of those. So I actually took the curtain from one side and just put it over them to kind of get rid of them. So it just makes it look like there's extra curtain, which I liked better. So then I put that one in. So I thought it was kind of nice. And I think I have a bit of problem when I'm using studio lights that I try to make it all really bright. And so that's what translates really flat. So then I like this because you have more of the shadow and more of the bright and shadow, and it kind of wraps around her face, which is what I really liked about it.
Yeah, I love it too. I don't think it's the studio lights necessarily in terms of the brightness, because the brightness actually isn't that different in this one as opposed to the other one. The direction of the light is very different. So because you have her standing next to the window, all of the light is coming from the side, and it's just not wrapping all the way around. But depending on where your light was, I'm guessing that it was kind of like 45 degrees and above, but it's in a big empty room. So it was falling over pretty much all of her. So that's where light modifiers come into place, and can be really essential with portrait photography as well. But soft boxes were basically invented to mimic window light. And there's a reason why, because when you're by the window, the lights turn out like this. I love this shot. I think it's beautiful. It's soft. The lighting's gorgeous. It accentuates everything it should accentuate on her figure. Her pose and expression is really soft too. I wish we could see a little bit more of the hands, or that we had given the hands something to do. You know, having them come around on the outside and grab the the curtain or bringing them to her face or something, but we can see just enough to know it's there, but not what it's doing. So that's a little bit awkward for me. And that's really the only negative critique that I have as far as the posing goes. The lighting's beautiful. If we had just a little bit more spillover, we'd be able to see a little bit more of the texture and ruching on the black part of the dress, but it doesn't really bother me. Her hair does, though. Like, that little bit of the part is just a little bit awkward, and I think that you could probably go in with liquefy or warp and just sort of round that out a little bit so that it's not so peaked.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, but you're right.
Yeah, you'll see it all the time now.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's really it. And then other than that, like the beauty retoucher, it might want to go in and just clean up some of the flyaways towards the back of her hair. But again, it's not enough to like kill the photo for me. They're just, when you start getting really good at what you're doing and the retouching, and you start pushing from great photographs to like exceptional, that's when the details start really mattering. So those are all the little things, but this is exceptional. I think is a beautiful photograph, so I'm still giving you a 3 for it.
Thank you. I think that's one of the things I really need to work on is my retouching and getting those little details. I think that's one of the things I'd really like to do.
Okay, so show me the next one.
Sure. Oh, I guess I went the wrong way. Wait a second. Oh, hello?
Still here.
Okay. So I think it was started halfway through. So this is actually the first one on the album, but.
Okay. So tell me about this one.
So this one, I was at a science fiction convention because I'm terribly cool like that. And I know this awesome fashion designer who is this lady here. And are you still there? Yeah. Sorry. So we went to college together and she created this costume. It took like 1,800 hours. Like, it's amazing.
Wow.
The work she put into it. It's all designed by her. Like, the whole thing, all the bodice work, everything is all hers. And so it was her first big costume that she's done. And so she had a booth at the convention and was selling her, she does gothic, romantic inspired clothing. And so she had like 20 minutes that she could get away from her booth. And we decided to go and do a shoot because she was all full in costume. So we took, I think this is in a hallway. We had to be careful where we took pictures because we couldn't get really in anybody's way. It's all natural light, whatever I had there. And we did this photo, and she had the apple for the evil queen because she's supposed to be the evil queen from Once Upon a Time.
Nice.
And I thought it turned out really well. And I tried because the background was ugly. Like, it's the convention center. It was pretty awful. So I tried to take it out and put in something in the background that kind of went with it. And I'm trying to get better with my Photoshop skills, is really what I want to improve. So I'm hoping it looks okay, but I liked how it turned out and I liked the feel of it. So that's why I put it in.
I love the background that you picked. I'm totally hearing myself in that echo.
Oh, did you want me to like get headphones or something? Or is that?
No, it's fine. Oh, now it's not doing it, so it's fine. No, the background works perfectly. I think it works great. This isn't one that I would look at and immediately assume was put in digitally, that it was composited. Once you said it, I started looking, and there's, particularly up along the collar on her left-hand side, there's just a little bit of distortion right there, but other than that, I wouldn't have pulled this one out and been like, oh, it's composited on a different background. So well done. So you get points for that. The styling's beautiful. I love the coloring. I love that the background that you chose complements the coloring of the outfit without her costume blending into it or getting lost in it. So that's really good. And then you have, this is really where color theory starts coming into play and really accentuating and amplifying the quality of the image, because you have these little touches that feed in. So we have like the greens and the blues, and then they're echoed in the backdrop. And then we have the purples and the reds, and they're echoed in her fingernails and the eyeshadow and the lips, and even like little hints of purple and blue in the black of her hair. So the color theory of the image works really well together. As far as critique or areas for improvement, if we were taking pictures of her and she spent 1,800 hours creating this, I would really love to see the full costume and what the work was. And I think if it had been cropped just a little bit lower, like it didn't have to be like a full body, but I'd like to have seen just a little bit more of it below the waist. It's just a little pouchy, the outfit. So, you know, ideally with the girls, you'd want to see like really nice clean lines. And I think because it's corseted and because of the way that she's holding, we're seeing a couple of different little like rolls in the fabric that I would probably go in and just liquefy or touch up just a little, not necessarily to make her smaller because you don't want to change her size. But it's okay to change the edges of the form and give her a nice smooth shape. So particularly the hand that's holding the apple, I think because that hand is holding the apple, it's constricting her body, like her midsection, and pulling down. So instead of it going in along the waistline, which is what everybody wants, it kind of like pouches out there. And I would go in and just very gently push it in just a little and just kind of smooth that edge. Same thing if you're looking at the curve of like the under boob.
I have to see it now.
Yeah, it's just a little uneven. So a lot of times, you know, I'll go in and just kind of even things out a little just so that they have a nice smooth flow all the way through. But that's it. That's all I got for you for creative critique. This is really, really good all the way around. The lighting's really pretty. I like that we picked up some of the cheekbones and the blush, but again, I think you're shooting just slightly it's not even overexposed, but the light's too wide on her. So I would really like to see you play with a couple of different lighting modifiers and change the position of your light a little more so that we can get some of those shadows like we're getting on the sides. 45 is the magic number. It's always about 9. So if you put a light at a 45-degree angle from where she is and 45 degrees angled down towards her, that'll help you shape the light around so that we're getting like the collarbones, especially if the girl's not a size 0 and she has any kind of extra pounds or weight to her. One of the way to immediately take out 20 pounds is to make sure that the way that she's angled is showing her collarbones. So it totally changes, even with me, like just sitting, like changes the whole side of what you're looking at when you can see those shadows and those lines. Because when somebody's skinny, we go, oh, they're all bones, you know, she's all skin and bones, give her cheeseburger, you know. That's my grandmother, feed that girl all the time, you know. She says that about everyone. So if we change the angles a little bit and have a little more bone structure and like the indent in the neck here, like the décolletage is a really, really good way to take a lot of weight off without actually doing anything. And it's all done with light and posing. And they'll thank you for it because they won't realize, like, nobody recognizes why they think that they look like 10, 20, 50 pounds lighter. And it's that little thing, and nobody ever pays attention to it. Everybody wants to liquefy the waistline and slim down the hips and make the boobs bigger, and like that's all the editing. Like I'm always looking to make sure that the bones in the neck are accentuated with the light and the posing. So, but either way, I still think it's beautiful. I would be really happy with the shot if I was her. So I think this is another 3 for me.
Oh, thank you. I did have some different images where it was the whole dress because we did a bunch of them.
Okay.
I did, and yeah, I kind of wish, I think you're absolutely right, and I should have included just a little bit more of the dress. I think that would have helped. I think you're absolutely right. Now I just kind of want to fix the side.
Okay. Next one.
Next one is this one here. So this was really cool. I've got a friend who's a hairstylist in the next province over in New Brunswick, and her salon has different salons all throughout the Maritimes, and they did a trash and show. So they took trash from their studio, like their salon, and made outfits out of it. And they had to do hair, and they had to do makeup, and do a whole look. And then they had a fashion show at a local bar down here in Halifax. And so this was taken right outside the bathrooms as she was getting ready to go on the little runway. And it was really fun. And it was just such a cool, I loved how the background turned out. I took out the sign for the bathrooms and all that. And then I did some work on the windows because you could see some of the street that wasn't so nice in them. So I kind of fogged them out and cloned everything out. And I thought it turned out really well, and I really liked it. And the girls were really happy with the photos. They thought it was great, and the model was just like, she was stunned because she didn't think it looked anything like her, but she's wearing a dress made of trash. So. But it was really cool, and they did things like the necklace is made out of broken bottles from the salon, and they did, all kinds of stuff. So it was just really cool. So that's why I included that one. I thought it was really fun, and it was all professionally done hair and professionally done makeup, so it was good times.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's a great. That's such a great theory for a project. I love it. And it's well done and well accentuated to still kind of look like a fashion image. What's the lighting here? What are you shooting with? Was it just the available lights that were in the hall?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Awesome.
The lights, and it was nighttime, so there was a bit of a glow from the window from the street lights because it's right downtown. So there's a couple of bars along there, so it's a little bit of bright light, but not too much.
Yeah, I think it worked out really well in your favor because you're getting the highlight on the hair from the window, but the way that the light's hitting, and because she has her makeup done, this is where a good makeup artist makes such a difference. Even though you're not using strobes or studio lights, you're still picking up on the highlights above the eyebrow and the bridge of the nose and the lip with the lip gloss, which is really accentuating. We have that neck now, which is really helpful. The styling's beautiful. The color theory, again, is spot on because we're picking up a lot of the warm and earthy tones with the broken pieces of the bottle and the cardboard that's like the bustier, and then that color's echoed in the walls behind her, and then with the reds in the necklace and everything, it picks up in her hair. So the color theory is spot on for it. And you have to be really careful, especially with girls that are redheads, because they usually have a lot of red tones in their skin, so their images can come out looking really flushed, and you did a really good job of keeping it looking very bronzed and having more yellows in it, which is really good as well. The only critique that I have as far as the posing is just to pay attention to the arms. Her arms are real tight against her body. You always want to keep those triangles or diamonds of space. And part of the reason that you want to do that is not only so that you have the space here, but also because when the arm's pressed flat, that's when you start to get like that little bit of fat roll. Even if they're not fat, it's just from anything pushing up against it. So it's like, here's my arm, and then there's my arm flat against my body. And it makes a huge, huge difference in potential size. So because it's sitting up against like the edge of the outfit or the corset, we're getting this like lump of skin that makes it look like she's heavy and has that like chicken cutlet thing that nobody likes. The other thing is just to pay attention to your hands. John Kaminsky will tell you, I beat on him about this all the time. But you just want to have, we call them ballet hands. So her hand's like really flat against the door right now, and we lose a lot of the dimension. So a lot of times when I have people touch their hands against the wall, or I want them to do it, wherever they're at, I just have them pull back a little. So you just want to keep and just play with the angles of the hands so that we can appreciate all of the fingers. Right there, we've only got the two. Like, I want to see the rest of them. So if we had her turn her hand in to see them, and like reach around and curve, or in contrast, if we had her hand on the other side of the bar so that the back fingers were going on the window frame. But you definitely want to pay attention to the appendages and try to keep all of the fingers visible in some form.
Okay.
But other than that, I think they're beautiful. One thing that I do want you to pay attention to and work on is just your catch lights
Mm-hmm.
and the light in the eyes, because you have some models with some really gorgeous eyes. And here we catch them a little more because she has lighter colored, but our evil queen girl had the darker eyes. You want the separation between the pupil and the iris, and the eyes are the soul of the photograph with portraiture. So you really want to make sure that we're catching all of the light in there to really make the eyes pop, because the eyes will sell it every single time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I still like it. I still think everything that you bought to critique was really good. So, I think I still have to, well, no, I'm going to give it a 2.5. I really like it. I love the concept, but the hand feels really weighty, and I would have liked to have seen, again, just a little bit more of her body.
Okay.
So that we could appreciate the figure. It's an awkward crop. Like we know, and everybody says, like, don't crop at the joints, the wrists, the elbows and stuff. Don't crop halfway under the boobs either, because it makes girls look heavy. You want to go at least down to like mid waistline to give a chance for the form to like curve in.
Okay.
Okay. Next one.
I like this one.
See, like that. Yeah. Okay. Tell me about this one.
So this was another one from that Hollywood shoot. So like I said, she brought a bunch of dresses. We decided to do a bunch of stuff. So this one, originally I had a chair in the background that had this fur piece over the back, and it looked, so I forget who it was, but somebody had commented that it looked like wings or something. And they were like, you should just get rid of it. And so I tried that, and I ended up liking the photo a whole lot more just getting rid of it. So that's why I chose to put it in without making that modification.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really liked this one. I thought her eyes looked really pretty, and I thought the shape was good, and it was just one of those images that I took and immediately was like, oh, that's it. That's exactly it. It was,
I love this one. Her expression's beautiful. She's got a really cute little Cupid heart-shaped face. The body language is incredible. I love the asymmetry with the direction the arms are going and the perpendicular kind of angle that her body is taking. You kept that space in between her arm and her torso, which is awesome. The hair is highlighted well. We're just a little bit on the hair that's like tucked behind the ear. We lose a little bit of the texture in the shadow, but that's really nitpicking to give you something to pay attention to, is just the shadow there, and maybe just a little bit in the bottom of the dress in the solid fabric. But honestly, it doesn't bother me enough that it would lose points for me. We kept the highlight in the neck this time. The only thing I noticed is like there's a line on her neck that's definitely an age line right under her chin. I would just retouch that out.
okay.
And then you just want to be careful, like as much as I love the pose and what you did with it, make sure that they're not raising their shoulders. So the angle is great, and I love the asymmetry of it and having her drop that shoulder, but have her drop that shoulder without raising the other one up so that we lose her neck. Like if it was down just a little bit more so we get this curve right here, I think that would have made it perfect. But because she's got kind of a rounder face, because she's super skinny, like she's not heavy set, but she has a very round face, something I know a lot about. So you just want to make sure that you're keeping long necklines to sort of counteract that. Otherwise, girls that have really round faces will start to look a little heavy set, especially when you're doing portraits of just the upper half of them, if you don't have those long necklines. But this is gorgeous. The styling, the coloring, the retouching, all of it. Again, if you're editing things out behind and putting in solid backdrops, you're doing it extremely well. That at least online, I'm not picking up any of the lines or edges to be able to tell it's composited. So I'm really impressed with how well you're doing with that.
Oh, thank you.
No, this one's beautiful, and you still have that bright light that you like, but this image showcases it done perfectly. Like we can still see the accentuation of her cheekbones. I can see all of the bone structure of her face and her neck. Like, this is perfectly lit. Whatever you did here, this should be your go-to for lighting.
Okay.
It's beautiful. So that's definitely a 3 for me.
Thank you. So when you say to drop the shoulder, do you mean like her back shoulder? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, not with the tattooed arm, but the other one?
Yeah, it's her right one. I like the asymmetry of it and the fact that it's up, and you can have it up a little bit, but if you just want to keep a little bit of the neck. So with the line of her body, the way that it is right now, she has no neck. Like, it's chin and then it's shoulder. So just pulling that away a little bit. Like, I can still keep it up. You just want to have her not hunch her shoulders towards her ears. So if you're looking, I don't even know if you can see me or if you're looking at your screen right now. I'm like sitting and posing. So just like, I like the asymmetry of it. Asymmetry is always the way to go. I use it all the time. But there's a difference between being here and pulling that away a little bit so that we keep the neck, or having it drop. And if you have the shoulders level, you can get the same feel just by dropping one without lifting the other up.
Yep.
So it's a really subtle difference, but we're getting to the point where your work is good enough now that we're fine tuning. Like, we're not changing major things. You're there. You're 90% of the way to where I'm starting to see a definitive style in the way that you shoot and you light and you edit. Like, you're almost there. So now it's just fine tuning and tweaking like these little things to really make the images pop.
Wonderful. That's exactly what I need.
Yeah. So that's it. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So stop screen sharing. And I know we're on a little bit of a time crunch. You have somewhere to go. So I'm sad to cut it short when we haven't seen each other in so long. But how are you feeling moving forward, and what's going on?
Good. I'm really excited. I feel like I'm ready to move on. I feel like last year was kind of a bad year for doing everything. It just didn't turn out very well for me. So I'm excited with 2016, and I want it to be the year that I kind of get this all together. So
awesome. So what's next for you then?
I don't know. That's the thing. I know I want to do more work with the kind of story images. Like, I want to do some more things like the Evil Queen, that sort of thing. I do have hopefully work to do with a local jewelry artist who wants to do like fantasy shoots, and she wants to have them on our website. So I'm going to work with her on that. She's got some models, hair and makeup, all that sort of thing. So I'm hoping to really kick up my editing and add that to my portfolio, which would be great. So I'm very excited. And then just fine-tuning the beauty editing, and I'd like to start making money off photography again.
Okay. So well, you passed with flying colors, so you can go in and level up in the Arcanum community, and we'll get you started on Sphere 1. You know, we do keep kind of looking at images and stuff for the rest of Sphere 1 now that we're not doing the custom maps, but I would say that if you keep working and keep making the kind of progress that you're doing now, that by the time you hit level 20, you'll definitely be ready to sit down and do an intensive that's solely based around building your business and your pricing and your marketing. Like, the product's there, the artistry sells itself at this point. I could put those images before people and sell them at my rates right now. So I think your art's there, you know.
Thank you.
And the rest can be taught. Like, that's the thing. So what I would be looking for in Sphere 1 now is just consistency. I want to be able to put your images in the middle of a batch of 100 images and pick which 5 are yours. So that comes in with the lighting, comes in with the posing, comes in with the retouching style. But you definitely want a style that's easily recognizable, that I can go, yeah, that totally looks like an Erin image. And I should be right. And I feel like you're like probably about 60 to 70% of the time you're consistent. I can pick yours out, but I don't think you've quite hit that yet. So I think that should totally be something that you're thinking about and focusing on. A little bit more ambition, I think, with the lighting. I think you're playing it kind of safe with it. I'd like to see you get a little more adventurous and move the lights around and shoot with them in different positions and at different settings, and, you know, set aside time to play. You know, everybody wants to be business focused, which is awesome. And we all want to make money, which is great. But the good thing about not being there yet is that you still have time to play because you don't have to worry about a client. So there's no concern that, oh, I'm not going to look professional or I don't know what I'm doing, or, you know, now's the time to play with them and really get creative and explore your potential, because I don't think we've hit it yet. I think that I see the beginnings of it, but I don't think we've touched on what you're capable of yet. So I would definitely stay art focused, but if you want, when we do level 19, we can spend your level 19 critique, and instead of critiquing images, we can look at your website, your social media, your pricing, that kind of stuff instead, to get you a head start.
I really need to work on all of that.
Okay. Okay. Did you have any questions, comments, concerns, things that you wanted to chat about?
I don't know. I'm really just excited that I finally got to level 9. I'm like, everybody's so long gone from my first little group.
That's okay. You'll be surprised how many of them are still hanging out in the upper tiers. You know what? It's good though. I think there's definitely been more energy. It may have just been that this was a grounding year for you, and 2016 is going to be a growing year. So I would keep planting my roots firmly and experimenting and shooting. But definitely, like, are you shooting paid work at all right now?
No.
Okay. So here's your homework assignment for Sphere 1. I want you to go into the Arcanum thing and request a level up so that I can move you officially to Sphere 1.
Okay.
And then what I'd like you to do is really just do some research on some photographers that are in your genre, that are like your mentors, your idol people, and see what you can find out about what they're offering in their collections and packages, and what the prices are at, and then do some research into companies that you might like to work with that will be providing the products, the prints, the albums, however you want to provide your art to people. And come back with a list of what you're thinking of putting in your collections and what the cost to you is. And then that'll help us figure out where we should start for your pricing points.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. I'm really proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
I really am. I think there's a lot of growth here, and I think that you're getting very close to like having that Erin Legare style, where like putting your name on the bottom of it makes it more valuable.
Oh, that's just my dream. I just want to have some sort of style that I know, like, that's how I want to edit all of my photos. I want them to be a cohesive group, so that when you look through the portfolio, it all makes sense.
Yeah, you're definitely getting there. So well done. Okay. I have nothing else for you at the moment. I think that you have plenty to move forward, but I also think that you've had plenty of growth to this point. So I'm really happy with your progress thus far.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm just kidding. He really likes to be around. Thank you so much for your patience, because I know it took forever for me to get kind of here. Last year was just kind of a crazy, crazy year for me. So now I've kind of got settled.
Are you feeling good about that now though? Do you feel like you have more time and ability?
Yes, yeah, and more drive. I think that last year it was just kind of, I needed that. I'm glad that the Arcanum's still there, that you can kind of be there and still see everything and kind of be a quiet part of it until you feel like you can really get back at it. And so then I think just seeing the newer, like we had a bunch of people in the Arcanum trying to level up, and then you want to help them, and then you get inspired to do your own stuff. And then I felt like as soon as January hit, I was like, no, I really want to get on with this, and I want by the end of the year to be doing a lot more business, and I want to have a kind of path to photography.
Okay. What do you think is the most essential thing for you right now to accomplish that? What do you need in Sphere 1?
I almost think like a little bit more practice with my photos, but then again, I don't know. Like I've got a little bit of a confidence thing where I'm like, I don't know if it's quite there yet. But it seems like maybe I'm closer than I'm thinking I am, which is great. So I think really looking at maybe revamping and going in and looking at photographers again, and going back and looking at the places I used to get product from. I'm a huge fan of MPix, so maybe going back and taking a look at what they've got. I haven't looked at their website in ages.
Okay.
prints?
I think that's a good idea. And I think as far as styling consistency, beginning to look at your website and your social media and putting together a really dynamite portfolio that is not only your best work, but is cohesive work that says this is Erin's style.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if we get to level 19 and we have a good cohesive style in the thing, and we have a good idea of what it is that you want to offer and what it is that you're looking to do as a business, then Sphere 2 would be all about actually building that business and getting you to the financial table that you want to sit at.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Final questions, concerns, thoughts? All good?
I don't think I have any. I'm very excited.
Yay, I'm excited too. Okay,
Thank
well,
you so much
have
for
something to do, and I have another meeting actually. So,
all right. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I know it's outside of your hours, so I really appreciate it.
No, I'm happy to do it. I'm glad we got to hook up. I was excited to see your work. So, all right, I will see you again at level 14.
All right. Thank you.
Right.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye, Erin.
Bye.